Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience. We discuss ways how we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. Hi, I'm Ken Bator, your host for Branding the Experience. And yes, the special Am I the Jagoff episode is back. And I have two great ladies that are experts, that are great professionals, that also won't have any problem telling me that I'm a Jagoff. So this will be perfect. Let me introduce you. First, let me start with the great Sarah Hall. She is doing amazing things as the CEO of Talis Ridge for first responders and their Talis airflow system. Sarah, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Thanks, Ken. I'm Sarah Hall, like Ken said, founder and CEO of Talis Ridge, where comfort meets courage. And we are here to make law enforcement, ballistic carriers, anyone who wears gear, including hockey, football, all those things, more comfortable in their gear and be more effective and hopefully go home less stinky every day.
Yeah. So, even if you're a leaf blower, like all these annoying guys that, love to blow leaves at the houses next door, right when I'm recording podcasts, they could have an airflow system.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
maybe before they buy an airflow system, maybe buy one of those battery powered ones instead of the gas powered ones.
It's a little quieter.
You don't annoy my ass. But
you're being a Jagoff.
See, we're already starting.
No, you're not. The leaf blowers and the lawnmowers all day long.
There you go.
When I'm trying to record.
And I have the great Talia Getting. Did I get that right?
You did.
All right. Perfect. I'm getting something right today. Yeah, she is a former family law attorney in the state of Michigan. And just as important, she is the co-host of an amazing podcast called Crimes and Consequences. I had the privilege of meeting her at CrimeCon just a few weeks ago, and we're going to be doing a great spread on that podcast probably in the first quarter of 2023, but I didn't want to wait that long to talk about Crimes and Consequences and how great it is. Talia, welcome to the show. Tell us about what you do.
Well, it's Talia.
Talia, yes. I got it right the first time. Right? I keep thinking Talia Shire. I'm a big Rocky fan, but go ahead.
I think you pretty much summed it up. I'm co-host of Crimes and Consequences. Our tagline is hardcore true crime. We try to get all of our information from court records, and I like to include 911 calls or audio from body cam, and thoroughly researching it is really important to us. And we like to do more obscure ones that haven't been rehashed 80 times. And we try not to take ourselves too seriously, and we say the F word a lot.
You do. And you do an awesome job. It's not often because, as Sarah knows, I've worked with law enforcement in one way, shape, or form for a number of years. And I've covered true crime for Podcast Magazine for 2.5 at least. So, hearing things and seeing pictures, 99% of the time it doesn't bother me. But every once in a while you get a really, really good true crime podcast that is just done so well. It's really getting into the details and the feeling, and I got to turn it off. Yours was one of those podcasts. I'm like, all right, I got to step away from this. It's really good, and they're doing an awesome job of giving the details, but I don't need any more details tonight.
You're so funny. We get a lot of people that they'll write us and say, I thought I was dead inside until I listened to you, and then I start crying.
So that even more proof that there'll be no problem telling me that I'm the Jagoff in this situation. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Thank you for coming on and playing my little game. The scenario today, and all of these scenarios are true that I've gone through. And this is a scenario where I recently had my back deck completely redone. Now, normally I will bring on experts in that particular field to tell me if I'm wrong or right on saying that it's a bad experience, such as restaurant workers or social media people and so forth. But I don't know any contractors except the guy that did my back porch. So I'm going to rely on the two of you. Did you ever have anything done to your house or business with a contractor?
I have had my whole house redone.
Okay,
I had
so
a
you know
new
what I'm
deck.
talking
I had a
about.
whole new deck put on. It's a upper level deck. It's like 1,500 square feet 2 years ago. I'm an expert on this. I'll let you know.
Okay. And Sarah?
No, I've just been the receiver of all these angry phone calls from people being like, you're not going to believe what this person did. I'm like, okay. So yes, I'm probably an expert to give an opinion.
Well, there seems to be, it's my opinion that the concept of branding the experience applies to every business.
Absolutely.
For instance, to give you an example, it's not just about the great food at the restaurant. You could have the best food ever, but the experience could suck and I'll never go back. You could actually have average food, but the service, the ambiance, everything else is terrific. And I'll go back and I'll eat average food because I actually enjoyed it more.
Absolutely.
So I really do believe that branding the experience applies to everybody, including contractors. But I've had a lot of people tell me when I tell them about this experience that, well, contractors are different. So, no. So I will say this, that the contractor and his team did an amazing job. If I was only rating him on the quality of the work, it is almost perfect. In fact, our neighbor is a retired architect. He came and looked at it and he says, this is impeccable work. So it's not about the work, but what I did have a problem with was the experience. And you're going to tell me whether I'm a Jagoff or not. So let's start with this. So originally we picked a date and I asked him, how long is it going to take to redo this back deck? And he says, probably about 3 weeks. Okay. How long do you think it took?
I always double it. And now there's this COVID still going on apparently. Mm-hmm. And the supply chain and blah, blah, blah. So we'll maybe triple it. I'm going to triple it.
Sarah, any thoughts?
4 months.
It wasn't quite that bad. It was about 2 months, maybe a little bit more than that.
Okay.
And, we had some weather and so forth, and they were really good up front. But, all right. So as I mentioned to the contractor, the owner of his business, I said, you know what, just shoot me straight, because if anybody's going to actually give you some slack, I'm a small business owner. I get it. I get things happen, stuff, out of your control goes on. Yeah, that's fine. But it was always, we'll get this done at the end of this week. We'll get this done at the end of that week. And my favorite one was that he would say, and this was consistent, I'll be there at 8:30, 9:45, 9:50. We're rolling up. My favorite one, and I'll finish and ask you for your opinion, is he would say, you know what? We're on this other job, because it always makes you feel good as a client or customer when you say, I'm sure you did this in family law all the time, Talia, which is, I know we're supposed to meet today and go over your case, but I just got this new client, which is more profitable for my business. So I'm going to push you off a couple of days. Yeah, you did that all the time, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. And everybody would be understanding too. Oh, yes. My life doesn't matter that much. You go and make that money, girl.
Yeah. Well, and my point is, as a small business owner, if he came to me and said, look, we got pushed back, and he had some valid reasons to be pushed well past that 3 weeks. There was weather, and here we are in Southern California. It never rains, and perfectly, the 3 weeks that I want to get a new deck is the only time in the last 18 months where we've had heavy rain. Thank you, Lord. And you've got supply chain issues, you've got wood prices. So I'm not ignorant to that, but don't bullshit me. Tell me what's going on. I'll work with you on this. But when you say, you know what, all right, we're going to put in a good afternoon of work on Tuesday, and I deliberately move my meetings from Tuesday afternoon to Wednesday morning, because as it happens, my very high-tech studio here,
yes,
#sarcasm, my very high-tech studio here is on the other side of the wall from the back deck.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
So it got a little loud over there in the studio is what you're saying.
so there's a little bit of noise, but that's okay. As I told my contractor, I'll work around that. Just tell me when you're coming and I'll move my meetings. So I deliberately moved my meetings from Tuesday afternoon to Wednesday morning. He didn't come on Tuesday. He came first thing on Wednesday morning.
Oh my gosh.
And I was actually doing an important interview for Podcast Magazine that morning. A guy that I was having a real problem nailing down on time, and we finally got it. And so here we are doing this interview, and I hear my contractor in the back. It's like, all right, well, he didn't even tell me he was going to be here today, but he's here, so we'll roll with it. And there's a little bit of noise and so forth. And then he blows a fuse.
Oh no! Oh, shit! Damn.
So I wasn't exactly, granted, I'm not very PC anyway, but let's just say he and I had a very bad conversation at that time. So anyhow, I'll finally shut up. There's some more pieces to the story that I'll get into, but there are a number of people in the neighborhood that asked me how this was going. And my beautiful wife, who Sarah has met, who
I love Peggy.
who is 100% nicer than I'll ever be, always just talk to the neighbors about the quality of the work, which I will agree is outstanding, impeccable work. But when I would talk to the neighbor, I would say, well, as long as you could deal with him not coming on time, him not being straight with you, him pushing off day to day, if all that's important to you is the quality of the work, then he's probably your guy if you can deal with all this other crap. Otherwise, if you have very little patience like this guy, not so much. And I got over and over and over, well, that's just contractors. You got to let that go. Contracting business is different. Even my dad said, well, he intended to be there and he got busy with another job. I said, no. If I tell my client that we're having a meeting at 8 a.m. and I just don't show up and I text him later, said, it didn't work out. Let's switch it to Wednesday. I'm not going to have that client anymore.
Right.
So, bluntly, am I the Jagoff for not just simply being happy with this impeccable work and being pissed that this guy kept lying to me, maybe unintentionally, over and over about the timing of this?
I don't think you're wrong. I really don't. I mean, in today's society, your appearance and how you present yourself is 90% of the deal. I mean, it's not about your quality of work, because most people, your quality of work is probably going to be pretty similar. It's the experience about it. It's not about the individual. It's not about the work, unfortunately.
Well, I'm on fire right now. I am so pissed at that Jagoff. First of all, you've given me PTSD. This is like, I told you, I redid my whole house. I redid my basement, my kitchen, all my bathrooms, my deck. I got my deck where this guy was redoing our kitchen. It's a two-man team. My husband asked him about the deck. He did it in 4 days. It's 1,500 square foot second level deck. There's nothing worse. Okay, so first of all, when someone tells you, I got a better deal going on over here, I'm gonna put you aside, that makes you feel like shit. I mean, nobody feels good. Nobody feels good being told that, right? And then when they're lying to you, like, I understand, everybody tells me the same thing. With contractors, that's what you can expect. Maybe, half the time they don't even show up when they're supposed to. Right. Not all of them are like that. And I would prefer an average quality deck with someone who has integrity. Okay, so things pop up. I understand that, like you were saying, supply chain, blah, blah, blah. Don't lie to me. Don't bullshit me. And don't make me feel like, the third level on the Titanic. Don't make me feel like that. That's what I'm saying. I would tell everybody not to use them, because how many people, Ken, are going to go to your house and they're going to be like, that is perfect. That's a perfect deck. No, it's going to look just like an average deck. Maybe a little bit nicer. You are not the Jagoff. That person's the Jagoff. And they can F off.
I agree.
Events are back in full swing. I'm actually heading to my 4th conference in at least as many months so far in 2022. I'm overjoyed to be fully back in business after the pandemic, and it would be a privilege to be a part of your next event. Do you need a speaker for your next conference? Maybe a facilitator for your next strategic planning or training session? A full program with expert panelists and interactive exercises for attendees? Or maybe you need an MC for your next event. I'm here to help and have the expertise to be a part of an amazing agenda for your audience. Learn more about Bator Training and Consulting at www.btcinc.net, or better yet, just contact me directly at kbator@btcinc.net, and let's talk about your next event, next training session, or next summit. I'm actually, this is the first time with my special I the Jagoff episode where I'm actually going to stick up for him just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. Yeah, well, you know what? You know, my beautiful wife, says, but look at this great, perfect deck that we have. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt that I don't believe that he ever lied to me on purpose. I truly believe that. However, I think that, and this may be the case in the contractor business, it's become so commonplace to tell clients what they want to hear.
Give me an example. What do you mean?
Such as, I think that they're used to a lot of people, bitching about, hey, this isn't done on time, that isn't done on time. So instead of saying, trying to go through a 20-minute litany as to why it's not done on time or why they need extra money for different equipment or tools or screws, nails, wood, whatever, materials. That's the freaking word I'm looking for, materials. Yeah, instead of going through and truly explaining and communicating, it's a lot easier to just say, yeah, it'll be done tomorrow, and just blow them off and then make an excuse later. So I think it's just become easier for them. Now, what I would have appreciated, and truly, and this is actually a conversation I had with the contractor. We were about maybe 6-7 weeks into this. And I was actually, if I remember it right, I was actually going to see Sarah at the SHOT Show in Las Vegas. And I said, look, I'm going to be gone for a week. So you don't have to worry about meetings or anything else. You can have free reign. My expectation is that it will be done or almost done by the time I get back. And that all we're doing is, little pieces here and there. And I even said a couple of times, and especially in this meeting, being a small business owner, I understand that in the grand scheme of things, we're a small job. And I understood also, although he never said, hey, I got better jobs over here, I knew about the other projects he was working on, and I knew that they were much more complex and much more profitable for him. Now, most people wouldn't care. As a small business owner, I get it. And say, you know what? I'll work with you on that. You know what? You could even have 12 weeks, 14 weeks, 18 weeks, but just be straight with me as to when you're coming and so forth. And so I said, my expectation is that this will be done or almost done when I get back from Vegas. Take a guess as to how much was done during that week.
Not a thing. You weren't there to hold them accountable.
I agree.
Pretty close. There was a little bit done. There were a couple of noticeable things, but basically almost nothing was done. That's what I started to get ballistic. And that's where, I think if there's a takeaway here, it's simply that, and this is what I told the contractor a few different times, almost in these very words: you're an amazing contractor. You run your business like shit. And
I'm sure he appreciated that. Thank you for the constructive criticism.
Well, yeah, I thought I was giving him good feedback. Sarah, you were going to say?
I was going to say, it sounds like he needs to hire an employee to handle his PR and his schedule.
Go ahead, Talia.
Here's the thing that I agree with you on. If someone came to me and said, listen, I have so many, jobs. I'm busy. You're a small job. I can squeeze you in during, during the week. And it might take a little longer than normal, but I'll get it done. But just appreciate, I'm a big company. This is a little job.
Yeah.
If you had the proper expectations in the beginning, none of it would have bothered you, because you would have known in advance, you made the choice to use this guy when he told you he was going to squeeze you in. It's when they string you along that gets you really upset.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
just be honest in the beginning, but then they think, okay, if they're honest in the beginning, you'll find somebody else that's dishonest in the beginning who says, oh, I'll get you done in a week. And then you're going to go with that person.
Yeah. To go back to, he's amazing at his work. And so is his team, but poor at business. And I tried to explain this to him a few times. And this is, at the end of the day, while we're having fun here, and I'm having a lot of fun because I'm definitely not the Jagoff in this episode, which always makes me feel good, which isn't always the case, is for the audience to learn in their business, what not to do. This is one of the reasons why, I won't mention the name of this business, because the purpose of this, while having some fun, isn't to disparage a business and make them look bad specifically, via YouTube and social media. It's to learn from their mistakes. And my biggest pet peeve, and to his credit a little bit, and this is what my wife kept trying to get me to understand, he worked a lot with his team on Saturdays and Sundays in the end to get it done. If for no other reason, probably to get this Jagoff off of his back. It's like, let me finish this project and get rid of him. But in doing that, he put us a little bit, out on the weekends. To give you an example, because of his poor planning in letting me know what was going on. And I do understand, and this is one of the things that I told him is, paying for labor is one thing, and we could discuss payments on that, but I don't want you to be out money for materials. We'll either give you money for materials beforehand, or, I'll go to Home Depot or wherever it is that you want to go. I'll pay for the materials and you grab them. This way he doesn't have to float money for materials. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And so, but what ended up happening is, because he wants to get the job done, he's texting me and getting here at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday morning and saying, well, a check won't do. Can you come with me to Home Depot so I can buy all this stuff so we can work today? And it's like, all right, we could have discussed this on Friday. We could have done something else. Here I am. I'm not a morning person. Sarah knows
I'm
this.
not either.
I am.
Especially Saturday morning.
I'm like, it's Saturday morning. I got my first cup of coffee, and now you're gonna drag my ass to Home Depot, which I hate going to anyway. Nothing against Home Depot; it's a great business. I just don't want to go there at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday.
Right.
Hell no.
So,
look at how much
I'm
fun
so
you
sorry.
Sarah's having so much fun talking to us that she's. So that's probably a cue that we need to wrap this up. So, number one, thank you for determining that I am not the Jagoff in this situation. Two, Go ahead.
I was going to say something. So in Michigan, where I'm from, when they do things like an outdoor deck or landscaping, there's only a certain amount of time that these guys can make their money. You can't be doing that in the winter. You
Right.
can barely be
Right.
doing it in the fall here. It's cold. So that what you described is just super typical in this area. And I get it, because they are trying to just work nonstop that season to make all that money. So everything you said is completely normal to me, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily okay. That's the point. In the end, I will refer people that were just honest about it, and it's the ones that to me lack integrity that I would never refer them to people, because I don't want to encourage that behavior.
I agree.
Yeah. And that being said, is and this goes back to the main point is that, and I say this to dentists, I say this to great chefs, people that are really skilled. It's skilled at things that I'm not. That you still have to have basic business principles. Just because you make the best food, just because you do the best oral surgery, just because you build the best stuff, doesn't mean that these other things don't apply. Right. And if you run your business, even, just some of the basic things such as communication.
That is the key, communication.
Exactly. In this particular case, if he had communicated with me, if we were on the same page and he said, you know what, this is going to be tough. I got these 2 other jobs. This was pushed back because of unexpected weather. Be like, great, let's work this out.
Yeah, change the time frame. I just want to let you know it doesn't look like it's going to work out in 3 weeks or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I want to pay for materials ahead of time, but not at 7:30 on a Saturday. Let's work that out. Let's figure this out. Because
he's a big Jagoff for that.
Well, to that point, as we begin to wrap up, and Sarah goes and takes a freaking nap. Jesus,
I don't need a nap.
you don't need a
coffee.
Yeah, you don't need a Fig Newton. You need an espresso.
Yes, sir.
But to wrap this up, great example here in my neighborhood. People saw the work. They knew that they were here working. And there were people that, asked for his card, that asked for, hey, can you come take a look at this? Because we want this done to our house. And we hear from our neighbors here who you're doing the work for, that your work is impeccable, which is still true. That doesn't change. But because he didn't follow up with those neighbors, because the neighbors got to hear that, yeah, it was great work, but
here's what you got with it.
I have not seen or heard a neighbor say, yeah, I hired this contractor. And that's a load of business that he didn't get. Not because he isn't an expert at his work. It's because that he runs his business poorly. And that's the takeaway, is don't run your business poorly, ladies.
Except it seems like he's doing success. He's doing well because he's so busy he can't get your deck done.
Yeah. And you know what? If that's truly the case, then God bless him.
No, you're right.
But yeah, at the end of the day, the basic principles of branding the experience applies to everybody. Sarah isn't going to promise a department an airflow system and not deliver on that on time, unless there's a really damn good reason. There's communication beforehand. Talia isn't going to promise this great series on crimes and consequences and say, yeah, I'm going to take some time off.
Not how this works, friend.
No, I mean, honestly, but people tell us, that's one of the things that we have a lot of paid subscribers, and we release most of our material to them, and they say they can always count on us. They know the day, they know the time, it's going to be there for them. And that matters. Even in something such as true crime podcast, it seems to matter.
It does. It does. We talk about that at Podcast Magazine, all the time, that, people have an expectation that if, episodes are going to come out at 6 a.m. every Wednesday, that's when they come out. And if it's 6:05 and it's not there, yeah.
What are they going to listen to on their way to work?
Yeah, I've been working with a lot of great podcasters. I hear them even say ahead of time, and I do this on my shows, is we're taking a hiatus. We won't have an episode next week, so that your fans, your listener base, your customer base, which is your podcast listeners, are saying, all right, she said she was gonna be lazy and not have a few episodes, so we understand that.
Again, it's expectations, right?
Yes.
It's setting the proper expectations.
Yep, exactly.
So if I tell them I'm going to, take a week hiatus and then I'm not there for 3 weeks, they're going to be like, what the hell is going on? She only said it's going to be a week, and everybody's going to get pissed.
Yeah, exactly. So as we wrap this up, any last words from either of you, how you're branding the experience and your great business? Let's wrap it up. Sarah, I'll give you the last word before Talia.
Yeah, just staying true to who we are and being honest and transparent about everything, especially in the market we're in. Supply chain is a major issue, and we're trying to revamp hurdles all the time to make sure that has been addressed, and just being upfront and honest with customers, and they understand it.
Yep. And Talia, you don't have to deal with supply chain, but you got other issues that you gotta jump over.
I get emails all the time for just like, I get so many emails from people about, for example, one time I accidentally did 12 hours off and released it 12 hours off. I get like bombarded. Where is this episode? And then, but I think something that I have learned as a lawyer and as a podcaster is to listen to your clientele or your customers and listen to what they say, listen to their feedback, and grow. And again, just be honest and give them proper expectations. When you're at a restaurant and the food's taking a long time, the absolute best thing that makes you feel better is when that server comes up to you and they're like, listen, I know it's taking a long time. And they just acknowledge it, right? Then you're like, okay, I can wait.
Yeah. Clean it up front.
And it's a good way to close in this scenario that we talked about. I talk about this with restaurants all the time, is work with me. If you let me in on the problem, even though I might not be happy about it, I may understand it. And now you're on my team. It's like, okay, It's going to be a 15-minute wait. Okay, you're out of eggs and somebody, ran to Kroger to go get some more and we'll be able to make your freaking omelet. It's like, all right, I get it. I can work with that. And you're not treating me like an idiot. You were on the same team. Let's figure this out. But you're trying to sweep it under the rug, not communicating. Avoiding me, causes a lot of problems. So ladies, you're both awesome. Thank you for telling me I'm not the Jagoff, at least in this situation. If you're a first responder, somebody that wants to stay cool in their job, definitely look at Talus Ridge and their awesome airflow system. If you're looking for an awesome, well done true crime podcast to listen to instead of hearing your screaming kids, you listen to Crimes and Consequences. Awesome show. Ladies, thank you for your time. Thank you for being here today.
You're welcome. Bye.
And thank you to all of you who have watched this episode. And here's hoping, as always, that you're branding the experience at a very high level for all those you serve.